This is Spec.
Well, right after that, I caught a case of double pleurisy, which is the inflammation of the lining of the outside the lungs, I believe. And I was in the hospital for a week, and even women that have pleurisy will tell you it's many times worse than giving birth. It's horrendous pain. So I got out of the hospital, and about 3 days later, I was back in the hospital with double pneumonia.
Wow.
And I was so sick they couldn't even airlift me to Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii to their regional hospital. So I was in there a couple of weeks, almost died. And then after that, I came down with a Ebola-like conjunctivitis. And my eyes turned purple, green, yellow, and they literally looked like prunes. They were so wrinkled.
So the hits, they just kept on coming.
Well, the doctor said, well, you probably got something from the ocean because I told him, I said, I've been diving. Of course, I did dive all the time, but I didn't tell him anything about the story, but I just said, I've been diving a lot. And they said, well, there's all kinds of organisms in the water. So, like I said, I had pleurisy and then pneumonia, probably because at some point I was dying of oxygen deprivation, which might have, screwed up my lungs or more conducive to an infection. And then when I got the conjunctivitis, I was legally blind for about a month. I was on quarters. And I had my roommates go out and buy every Japanese and Chinese herbal medicine, for that kind of stuff. And I was taking all these mushrooms and dried leaves crushed up and everything in the world. And eventually my eyesight started returning, and they told me, he says, there's only a 20% or less chance that you will ever have good vision again, because I had all this scarring in my eyes.
Right.
And eventually it cleared up, and over the years, which is impossible, the scarring has almost completely gone. It's barely detectable. In fact, I've had the same eye prescription for 20 years now.
I wonder if that had something to do with your quick thinking and getting your friends to go out and getting you a whole bunch of herbal remedies. And
I believe in that stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that was smart, especially for that time frame to have the foresight to do that.
Well, I started taking all kinds of supplements, vitamins, minerals, stuff like that, all the way back in the early 70s, because I used to watch this TV program with Adele Davis on it. She was like the first bestseller talking about vitamins and benefits of vitamins, minerals, and other herbal supplements.
Okay, so you were educating yourself in that stuff.
Yes, I was an advocate like you are.
I am, big time. Alternative health remedies, I'm big into that. Okay, I actually have a guest with us here today. A friend of mine, Charles, from the Nexus2012.info forum, and he's read your book multiple times, just as I have. And just to, throw some flavor into the interview, I'm going to have him ask some questions. Charles, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Is there any questions about the book or his military history that you'd be interested in asking him?
Yeah, actually, the bit about the dive, that really was unusual. I spent a little time diving myself, and I know what he's talking about when he talks about, it's you want to pop up to the top, and it's unusual to have yourself be sucked down like that. In retrospect, do you think there might have been something there physically drawing you down?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was panicking at several points to where, I was kicking my legs, and I had the extended flippers on, which we use for ocean dives as opposed to like lake dives. I was whaling in every direction and wasn't going anywhere but down. and I'd pull both my CO2 cartridges on a buoyancy compensator, and they inflated. And I kept going down, which it had to have been obviously some very strong force that was pulling me down to the bottom. For what purpose, I don't know.
And you've never been able to recall what happened during the time when you blacked out and your buddy pulled you out of the water?
No, I just have little flashes like these lights were trying to communicate with me, or whatever was behind the lights. I mean, I just little flashes.
Okay, but nothing solid. No recalled memories of.
No.
Okay.
At some point, I also want to discuss my more of my military career, but I'm interested to see what Charles has next.
Yeah, me too. Charles, go ahead. Do you have another question?
Oh, yeah, I've got loads of them. Can I jump to one of the characters in the book?
Of course.
Okay. Now, you said that Agabar was a composite, like a compilation of many different characters. He was obviously dangerous to the people that he interrogated. But this character in your book, he seemed to be dangerous to anybody that was near him. How often was that this used?
It was you have to be a sociopath and a psychopath to do what he did. Right. Normal people could never do that. In other words, you have to be that type of person. And of course, the CIA and the NSA, they screen everybody. For example, one of the most used tests is the MMPI, Minnesota Multiple Personality Inventory, which is like 500 questions. And it's very accurate for picking out deviations in personality of these type people. So he obviously had what it took. Now, from what I understand, there were quite a number of these people trained by the CIA that were trained for different dictators that we supported. So it always struck me as funny that we badmouth all these communist leaders, yet we turn around and train murderous interrogators for our allies.
Right. So he was a nasty character.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He was one of those kind of people you read about. It's like, oh, I want to strangle him. I just want to take him out right now. He's just way too dangerous.
Yeah, there was people around that character with guns, and I was sort of hoping at any point one of them would just take their gun out and shoot him.
Yeah.
No, he's right there. Come on, just go ahead. Just do it, Yeah, he was a horrible, horrible character. Any other questions, Charles?
How do they control somebody like that? Or is there just absolutely no way to control somebody like that?
Well, as long as they're doing their job and getting results, they're pretty much left alone as long as they don't screw with other people. But they are loose cannons, You can't train somebody to slice and dice and electrocute people strapped down to a table or a chair without knowing that they are psychopaths.
Yeah.